Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous. Coming up later in the program, I've got a guest, Ellis, and he is a P.O.W. from the Vietnam era.
Oh, wow.
True American hero. He was actually on the same airplane as John McCain flying home.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was reading some of the info about this guy. He's the author of a book called Engage with Honor, and I'm super excited to visit with American hero and patriot Ellis later today on the program. So that's coming up. I'm excited to chat with him. I think that's going to be really, really nice. Coming up here as well, we've got a lot of fun things to get to. It is a Monday edition of the John and Heidi Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to find out what kind of special things are coming up for this Monday. We'll do that after this on the John and Heidi Show. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Monday, October the 10th. You know what that means? Today is 10/10, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
I know
It
you
is
do.
Columbus Day for most of the country. There are some states that do not celebrate Columbus Day. They celebrate Native American Day. So whichever you celebrate, happy day to you. International Day for Natural Disaster Reduction. What am I talking about? It is International Newspaper Carrier Day, International Stage Management Day, National Handbag Day, National Kick Butts Day. That means today's the day to quit smoking. So
National Handbag Day would
Yeah,
be
it's
a
like
fun one to celebrate.
There you
I
go.
could go and buy a handbag.
No, I don't think you should. It's Naval Academy Day. It is
Our son was in the Navy.
He was. Squid and Cuttlefish Day, World Day Against the Death Penalty, World Homeless Day, World Mental Health Day, and World Porridge Day. So I wonder if it's going to be too hot, too cold, or just right today. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. In Daytona Beach, Florida, 26-year-old Joy Millings had a bad run-in with the law last year. She was stopped by an overly aggressive officer. While she had her registration and proof of insurance in the glove compartment, her driver's license was in her purse, and that was in the trunk of the car. The officer, Justin Dunn, refused to let her get at it and gave her a ticket for not having a driver's license. When she asked to speak to a supervisor, he arrested her, and she spent the night in jail. Well, she sued the city and won $50,000 in a settlement.
$50,000.
Well, I think it's wrong that they did what they did. That's overzealous to do that. And if she had, I don't know why the officer would have done what he did.
Maybe he assumed there was a weapon back
Could
there.
be, but that's where
that's where she could have handed him the keys,
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
he
say,
could have
here
opened the
are the
trunk.
keys. Open the trunk.
Yeah.
Get them. So I'm sure there was a way to resolve it, and we don't know what her side looked like or what his side looked like or whatever. But troubles went on from there. The day after the Daytona Beach News Journal published an article about her settlement, her home was burglarized and ransacked.
Oh.
3 days after that, somebody in another vehicle fired shots at her as she was driving down
Gosh.
the International Speedway Boulevard. The burglary and the shooting are still under investigation. So I kind of feel bad for Joy Millings.
I wonder what she knows about Hillary Clinton.
Would you just stop it? No, that's not it. There are other people out there that are taking the side of the law, saying, hey, $50,000, seriously? Like you just did. You did the same exact thing.
That is a lot of money for what she went through. That's
Well,
insane.
I'm not saying that who doesn't even say that she's the one that asked for that amount, you know?
Yeah.
You get an attorney involved, and half of that, most of that, probably went to the attorney.
I'm sure.
Now we've upset attorneys. We've upset. Let's make a long list here. Nothing against that. By the way, if you have a good attorney, you know they're worth every penny of it. Thank you so much for listening. Kids, this is what happens. No, that's not the right thing. I was going to say when your brain is on drugs. No. You know this is true because you heard it on the radio. That's the one.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. St. Petersburg, Florida. Somebody called 911 to report there was a man bleeding from the face near a fire station. 2 firefighters piled into Rescue 5 to go help him. They opened the garage bay door, turned on the lights, and pulled forward and heard a thump. Would have been nice if somebody would have told them that the guy is right in front of your fire station door. They didn't know that. Joel Granata, I don't know how you say it, said they didn't even see him. The guy they ran over was 41-year-old Ted Allen Lennox, who was homeless. He suffered life-threatening injuries and was rushed to the hospital. Alcohol was a factor, and Lennox was lying outside the garage bays at the time of the accident.
Oh, my gosh.
Firefighters involved remain on duty, but, they feel awful about that. Can you imagine?
Of course. How could you live with something like that?
And
that would be terrible.
You open the garage doors. If you're in one of those vehicles, there's no way you'd be able to see what's right down below you there. So I'm not exactly sure. From now on, I wonder if they're going to have to check the... I don't know. That's weird.
I wonder why he was bleeding from the face.
I don't know. And why would he be laying right in front of the garage doors?
Better than on the train tracks.
Yeah, we had a story the other day about that. Boy, these drunk people are passing out all over the place. It's like going to a Heidi's family reunion. All right. Kids, this is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. A student agenda distributed to 294 public schools in Toronto has a serious grammatical error. The heading atop the page, 136 in the junior edition of the agenda reads, grammar/punctuation with the word grammar spelled wrong. Spelled it with an ER rather than an AR, by the way. School board learned of the mistake from a trustee, Sheila Carey Migger, who received the email from an irate parent saying, you guys spelled grammar wrong. So, when I look at the two words, they look very similar. So, you could have snuck that one by me, but you never would have snuck it by Heidi.
How irate would you have to get about a spelling error? They got a phone call from an irate parent. Irate means absolutely livid and cannot contain yourself.
All right. Well, she was really upset about the misspelling of the word grammar. I don't know why. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your Scoop of the Day. We're going to start our Scoop of the Day today in Pekin, Illinois. Have you ever been to Pekin, Illinois?
I've not.
I haven't either, but it sounds like kind of a fun place. I wonder if people peak there a lot. Just peeking.
Oh, my gosh.
Moving right along. A man whose transmission would not work in drive tried to drive 3 miles home in reverse. Anybody in this room that would do something like that?
You would.
I would. I know I would. Keith Talley drove his car backwards. He was in the correct lane. He was going about 20 miles per hour until he was finally stopped by police. Witnesses said that at one point, Talley stopped in front of a church, got out, kneeled, and prayed, then got back into his car and continued his journey. He was ticketed for reckless driving, and his car was towed away. I gotta just say, unless he was causing a problem.
It causes a problem.
What could he possibly have caused?
Distracting other drivers.
He's cruising along. I watched Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. He did that. He was driving. No, his windshield was busted out, so he was driving with his window out.
One of my favorite movies, by the way.
License to Drive.
License to Drive.
Yeah, he drove.
Awesome movie.
Reverse works, Dad. Take me there backwards. Take me there sideways. Just get me there. Remember that? I remember. So apparently what he did was illegal. So there you go. Anderson. Moving along. Long Beach, Mississippi. A police officer shopping at a convenience store arrested a man who was wanted for trying to rob the store the night before. Apparently, he'd come back to finish the job, but was caught when a policeman recognized his large, distinctive tattoo, which bore the words, "not guilty," which, of course, was incorrect because he was guilty. So a guy robbed a store, decided I'm coming back the next day to rob the store again. That's not a good idea. St. Paul, Minnesota, a woman there wanted the FBI to help her locate her boyfriend so she could get her car back. So what does she do? She made up a story that he was a terrorist planning on planting bombs around the Mall of America. Her story was discovered as a fraud. According to the FBI, it's no longer relevant whether she gets the car back or not, considering she's not going to be needing it for a while because she's going to be, behind bars herself. So that's a bad idea. I can understand where she's saying, hey, I'd like to get some help, but be honest, because if you're not honest, that's going to come back to bite you in the butt like it just did. That's not good. Moving right along here. Scrolling through because I really need to get all of my stuff fixed on this computer. I finally got a different computer, by the way. Broke it last week. I just don't have any of the right programs on this one. A convenience store clerk in Iowa got a little unexpected help this last week when he tried to tell the police about a man who had just robbed the store. In talking with police over the phone, the clerk said he's about 5'10". Then the suspect, who had suddenly returned to the store, spoke up and said, "No, I'm not. I'm 6'2". Oh, I'm sorry. He's about 6'2". And about 38 years old, the robber said, "I'm only 34". Keep in mind, this is all while he was on the phone with the police. The robber then asked for his wallet back, in which he had dropped while he was stealing the cigarettes. A moment later, deputy sheriff arrived, and 6'2", 34-year-old Stephen Herberg of Des Moines was charged with second-degree robbery and remained in jail on a $13,000 bond. So there you go. He was trying to be helpful anyway. Yeah. He dropped his wallet, realized it when he left, and came back for his wallet, and he was helping the guy describe himself. So there you go. Hey, some years ago, some bank robbers in Montreal committed the deed and then turned their car around to go home. Trouble was, they backed their car into a snowbank and left a perfect imprint of their license number. So the police met them right at their front door.
That's funny.
So there you go. There's some dumb criminals out there. That's your scoop of the day for a Monday. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We appreciate you joining us today. I've got a special guest joining me right now, a true American hero, award-winning author and Vietnam veteran and P.O.W. Lee Ellis. He's got a new book out called Engage with Honor. We're going to be chatting about that. But before we get to all of that, I got to say, Mr. Ellis, thank you so much for your service to our country. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that.
Now, we turn to a really bizarre time in our country's history where we've got things in the news like this. We've got, Wells Fargo under investigation for some wrongdoings that they had done where they made phony accounts all to chase the dollar. Hey, we need to get more accounts and we get bonuses. And then you turn the page and we've got the CEO of Bresh again on Capitol Hill because of the EpiPen epidemic, where they raised the rates more than 500%. And now it costs about $600 to get this little device. It's a life-saving device. Now, you might be saying, what do those two things have in common? Other than both of those things are kind of, sad to even know that they're happening. But neither of these things are very honorable, are they?
Well, the first one, Wells Fargo, certainly wasn't. And the second one, it doesn't seem honorable. It may be legal, but it doesn't seem honorable. Part of the problem is our government has gotten involved in kind of created a monopoly in the big pharma area. And so these companies are able to do things that if we had a really competitive system where the customer was paying the bill, you wouldn't see that. It'd be like televisions and computers where the power and capability has gone up tens of times, if not 100 times over, but the price has stayed about the same because of the competitive nature of capitalism. But when you get the government involved making payments and you get companies with opportunities, they're there to maximize return on the dollar for the shareholders and themselves. So they're going to take advantage of those openings and run with the ball as fast as they can and hope nobody notices. It does seem dishonorable to me, And it certainly, I'm sure it feels that way to anybody who's having to pay the bill.
Now, why is it, maybe this has been going on for a long time and we're just noticing it now, but why is it that it seems that, there was just about a year ago, there was a gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman because I don't know that that's really the way to describe him, but a young man that had, the patent on some medication that was needed, and they increased the price a ridiculous amount, and here he is making millions and millions and millions of dollars, while people who can't afford this medication were dying. And now we've got, with these EpiPens, these aren't things that you want. These are things that you need. So it's not like you can say, well, I'm going to just not buy it. You need it. If this is something you need it. And they just increase the rates on this to a point where, again, it makes their bottom line look good. Topping $600 now to get this thing, 500% more than it used to be. Why is it we're seeing more and more of that now? Is it because it's happening more, or we're just noticing it more?
I think it's both. I think it is happening more, and I think we're noticing it more. Remember the story maybe 30 years ago about the $900 hammer the military bought? It was a special hammer, but obviously it was a great opportunity that somebody took advantage of. And, when you go to the hospital now, if you have insurance, you might be paying several $100s for medications that don't cost very much, just because that's the way the hospitals make enough money to pay for the people who don't have insurance and who don't, they don't get reimbursed for. So it's a crazy system that we've got right now in the whole healthcare reimbursement area, and the hospitals have to make it work. In this case, it's similar, I think, maybe with not exactly similar, but some degree of similarity with the EpiPen situation. It doesn't seem honorable at all, and it seems like, obviously, price gouging to the 500th degree as they marked it up by 500%. So I think somewhere along the line we have to reconcile and make, maybe there needs to be regulation. I'm generally against more regulation because it does add to the price of things when you have regulations, but certainly it doesn't seem honorable that they're charging so much for something that probably costs, a couple of dollars to do.
Exactly. Again, visiting right now with award-winning author and Vietnam P.O.W. Lee Ellis. He's got a new book called Engage with Honor. Let's talk about engaging with honor and what that means. What does it mean to engage in an honorable way and establish a strong, trusted character? What does that mean for a business, and what does that mean for a person?
Yeah, I think it does have to start with the individual, and that's the premise of the book, is that leaders, before they can hold others accountable, they have to be accountable themselves. And accountability is really what I call the guardian companion of honor. And honor comes from character, courage, and commitment. When you have good character, everybody says they have good character, okay? These people are all going to say they have good character. We all say that. But the truth is, we're human beings, and we can get off track very easily. Everybody can fail to keep a promise. So it takes the courage to actually keep our promises and to keep our character, because we're all going to be tempted. And without courage, we will all fall short regularly. And the other piece of that is commitment. I call character, courage, and commitment the core of accountability, the core of honor. And without all three, you will not be able to maintain your character and your honor. And so even then, it takes correcting back. Nobody is perfect. We all are going to make mistakes, which requires a lot of courage to be vulnerable, to be transparent and say, I made a mistake. I really didn't intend for things to go that way. I didn't intend to say that. I didn't intend to do this. And I'm going to correct back and do the proper thing and make amends. That's the honorable thing to do. But as I said, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes just that commitment to keep coming back to true north.
Again, visiting right now with Lee Ellis. He is the author of Engage with Honor. In this, you talk about 7 principles of the honor code that all businesses and business leaders should live by. Now, we just talked about 3 things. Are those 3 of the 7 principles?
Yes, it is. Character, courage, and commitment are the 3 that make up the core, but those are the first 3. And then we move in leaders. We need to clarify at every level, from mission, vision, values, all the way down to the specifics of the task, the purpose, and why we're doing it, and what resources are available. And then we need to connect with people based on who they are. If you manage me, you have to manage me with a 2x4 upside the head, because subtlety doesn't get very far with me. I'm very direct. My wife is just the opposite. You just kind of give her the rules, and she'll follow them and speak softly, and that all works well. But that doesn't work so well for me. So you got to manage people, connect with people based on who they are. Also, you got to connect with the heart. People want to be inspired. They want to be cared about. They want to be valued. And they want to know that their work actually counts for some purpose. So that's where leaders, I think, often fall down. They get so focused on the results that they forget to connect with the people and show the value of the people. And then collaborate is the next one. And then the last one is close out. Close out with either celebration or confrontation. So the last four operatives are connect, clarify, connect, collaborate, and close out.
Very nice. Just wondering, especially with your unique perspective, being a POW, having a book that you're doing about engaging with honor, because we've got one side that seems to not be able to tell the truth, and we got another side that seems to not be able to say things without offending people, and you just can't look at those two choices and go, "Wow." So which one is the good one?
Well, I know, and for me, it all really so much comes down to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's
just and look, if for some reason, let's say Trump was terrible and he got and we threw him out, we'd have a great guy with Mike Pence following in his steps to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
A level-headed guy there to fall back on. So I feel like there is some. We still have some possibilities. If it didn't work out, we could move him out.
Again, the book is called Engage with Honor. Where can we find a copy of this?
It's on all of your online stores and many of the bookstores that you would normally go to. And also you can find a lot of information at our website, EngageWithHonor.com, EngageWithHonor.com, which is the same as the name of the book. But you can certainly get it on your normal online stores like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and those kind of places.
Again, our guest today is award-winning author in Vietnam, P.O.W. Lee Ellis. And Lee, thank you again for not only your time today, but thank you for your service to our country as well. I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you, John. And just for those that are interested, I know Colonel Bud Day is from Sioux City up in your area there. Here's a POW story in every one of the chapters in this book. It starts out with the lesson from that chapter being brought up by a historian from the POW camp. So people who might be interested in that and the courageous leadership that we had in the POW camps, I think would enjoy reading that part as well as the leadership lesson.
How long were you a POW, sir?
5.5 years. Got there November 1967 and came home in March of 1973. In fact, I was captured 11 days after John McCain. We came home on the same airplane.
Wow. That is, now, what was that experience like? I can only imagine that it was just a horrific experience. The
first 3 years were really, really hard. As you say, kind of a horrific experience, a day-to-day battle. 95% of us were tortured, most of us more than once. The senior leaders were usually in solitary confinement for several years, although we did have covert communication. But it was just a daily battle to keep our honor, actually, to return with honor. That was our motto and our goal, was to return with honor. But every day was a battle because they wanted us to collaborate with them and to make anti-war propaganda. And as military men, we refused to do that. We remained united. We had great leadership, and we did return with honor.
Well, thank you again for your service. I appreciate that a ton. And again, like I said, I can only imagine how difficult that would be, and I'm so glad that you made it through that, and the others that were with you, and absolutely, positively true American heroes. So thank you again.
Well, thank you very much, John. As I said a minute ago, I don't look at myself so much as a hero. Colonel Bud Day from your area was a great hero and was a close friend of mine, and we miss him so much.
Thank you again for putting out the book, Engage with Honor. It is available right now. Again, our guest today has been award-winning author and Vietnam POW Lee Ellis. The book is called Engage with Honor. It's available now. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you ready for duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Dual Shape.
Gotta keep rocking. rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
You're locked in chains and you feel no pain. Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/duelrocks.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Apples are better than coffee at keeping people awake in the morning. So we should all be waking up with apples rather than coffee. You think you're going to do that?
Probably not.
No. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Smelling bananas can help you lose weight. So there you go. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A can of Spam is opened every 4 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, every 4 seconds. Who loves
Not in
Spam
my
around
house.
here?
My dad.
Yeah, Charlie. We're going to be chatting
And my
with him.
son.
Hey, it skipped a generation, but he loves it too.
Gross.
I think it's actually not bad. So coming up tomorrow, we'll be chatting with Charlie, and he's a big fan of Spam. And our final story for our fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Yeah, thank you. Tornadoes are more likely to occur on May 16th than any other day of the year.
Really?
Yeah, and sometime after 1 p.m.
Really?
According to a review of 304 twisters that occurred in the U.S. between 1950 and 1991, that was the most common day and the most common time after 1 p.m. There you go. Couple of fun facts for you on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Tantrum troubles here. How do you keep your kids from having a full-on temper tantrum, Heidi?
I don't know.
And why do they have them? Well, Claire McCarthy, MD, from the Harvard Health publication, say that this is what usually happens. It says usually children get frustrated. And ages 1 to 3, they're learning to use language in their bodies. They become frustrated as they struggle to express themselves, and they can't get something that they really, really want. Then children get upset. And disappointment and anger can be very, very difficult feelings for them to deal with, especially for a small child. And then finally, if they're asserting their independence, they can throw a tantrum. And this is when they start with the words no, sometimes purely just for the sake of saying no. It says the key to preventing or diffusing tantrums is to understand your child's tantrum triggers and to understand what it feels like to be little and out of control. And they say avoid tantrum-provoking situations. Use the candy-free checkout aisle at the supermarket. They say most of them have that. I've never noticed it. I usually go to the one with the candy, and I usually end up throwing my own tantrum. I want some. And Heidi's like, no. And I'm like, I want some, no. Stomping up and down. And they also say at home, keep things your child wants out of sight. So if they like cookies, don't have them sitting on the counter when they're supposed to be eating dinner. Are you seriously writing notes right now?
I'm writing notes for you.
Oh, I thought you were writing notes about how to get me to stop having tantrums. And when it comes to tantrums, a little advanced planning goes a long way. Spend positive time together. Dedicate some time every day to snuggling and playing with your child. And it says here, the last one, let your child feel like they're in control once in a while. Obviously, you are in charge. But when you can, give them choices. Instead of saying, time to get dressed, say, hey, do you want to wear the blue shirt or do you want to wear the green one? And then they get to pick something. So there you go. Couple of tips for tantrums on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner or the person in charge of advertising, I have a special offer just for you. We're doing a jingle special this month. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? How would you like to be the name in your industry and have people singing your song? We've worked with hundreds of small businesses to create their own musical image, and we want to help you too. Reach out right now and we'll give you $500 off. Squeeze it into this year's budget and get results for years to come. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. Are you frustrated on the job? Beat the tar out of somebody that's willing to get clobbered. Somebody actually believes this is a viable business. A Belgian therapist is allowing his clients to beat him and whip him to get rid of their work frustrations. We talked about somebody else that was doing
Somebody
this.
in Japan that was standing on the street corner taking money.
Like $10 to punch me or something. So this guy is in Belgium. Belgian therapist Patrick Vermeer, whose Brussels company is called Frustration Reduce, believes it's the only way for many stressed employees to calm down. During their half-hour session, he wears a protective suit. Oh, you wimp.
Weenie.
Who me in my suit? Whatever. You man up and go to Japan where you can just punch the guy in the gut. He wears a protective suit, and he lets his clients take out their frustrations on him. His technique involves him intimidating them and imitating their boss. So what does the boss say? He says, I need this report by 5. Okay, I'm going to say, I need it by 5, and you punch me as many times as you want. Is this a good plan?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Because those could become trigger phrases for those people, and then their boss says it to them. And
I want it at 5. What was that all about?
I'm sorry. I thought I was in therapy.
Sorry. My therapist made me do it. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
A bear is being hunted in Colorado because it stole someone's chocolate chip cookies.
Aw, let him have the cookies.
A bear is being hunted for breaking into a car. 7-foot-tall thief is either a brown bear or a grizzly bear. It smashed the window near Denver to steal some chocolate chip cookies. The owner said, I came out this morning and I found the car windows were smashed, the seats were all clawed up, and the cookies were gone. I could tell by the tracks in the snow, so apparently this is not a current story. Or has it already snowed in Denver? I don't think it has.
Might be in the mountains.
Yeah, I could tell by the tracks in the snow that it was a bear and at least one cub. This is the most aggressive case I've seen in my 50 years of living up here. So maybe it is.
They must have been hungry.
Yogi and Boo Boo came down for some cookies.
Just let them have the cookies. I mean, it's not like when you catch them, they're going to have insurance to pay for your broken windows anyway.
Exactly.
So
Well,
just
it's
leave them be.
Our story earlier about the tantrum and leaving the things out of sight. Don't leave cookies in plain sight in your car because bears are going to trash the thing and get them out of there. So that's just an all-around bad plan.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. I'm sure you've at least once come across a news story about somebody so angry that you saw on TV that maybe kicked their television or shot their television. Have you seen these things?
Yeah.
I've seen these things. Given the widespread use of computers and their digitally challenged performance of software like Windows, you would not be surprised to know that there have been similar assaults on computers. A number of people have drawn guns on their computers.
I've seen that too.
Computers have even been stabbed with screwdrivers. But my favorite personal one is a person who used the heel of a woman's shoe rather than the off switch, and they destroyed their computer with that. They smashed their bits to bytes, or their bytes to bits, or however you'd say that. So I don't think that's a good plan. I just had an issue with my computer last week.
You beat the crap out of your computer,
It
doesn't work anymore.
Here's the thing. Honestly, did I beat the crap out of
Yes,
it? No,
you did.
No, I banged. It was going slow, and I banged it like that.
No,
okay,
you did not bang it like that. I watched you.
I'm careful because I'm near another computer. I did it a little harder than that, but it certainly wasn't that hard.
It was hard.
And my computer was ancient. Looked like it was like, so that from the 1980s?
He was so mad. He's smacking his computer, and then he's like, oh no, it's not turning on. I was trying so hard not to laugh because I'm just like, I can't even believe you just did that.
I can't
either.
Sitting
over here quietly stifling laughter.
Anyway, the good news is I got a new computer.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to treat this one with respect. But I would never shoot it. I would never stab it with a knife or a heel or a screwdriver.
Or bash it with hammer.
I didn't do that.
To destroy evidence.
I smacked my desk. And I apparently smacked it a little harder than I thought I did, and the computer quit working. So I am still paying the price. I'm trying to get all the files off that old thing.
That's what happens when you get mad at me. You're not supposed to do that.
I know. There you go. I don't think that's what happened at all. Coming up, we've got some good news. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
I am a sucker for stories like this. I absolutely, positively love these kind of stories. Good news. So we always get to a little bit of good news at the end of the program, no matter how awful the show has been this far. We always try to end on an up note, right?
We try.
There we go. We try. Well, a selfless cashier recently received a surprise that he was never expecting, thanks to a simple act of kindness. While Travis was working as a cashier at one of his shifts, he was approached by a little boy wanting to purchase some ice cream. After counting the change and the dollar bills, Travis realized the boy didn't have enough money. But rather than turning him away, Travis simply paid for the ice cream himself.
Aww.
The act of kindness was rewarded minutes later when the little boy returned with a note from his parents thanking Travis for his generosity. Inside the note was a $100 bill.
Aww.
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
That is very cool. So, and the thing is, be kind to each other, not because you're hoping to get some sort of reward, because if you do it expecting a reward, you're probably not going to get the reward.
Right.
And if you do it expecting the reward, it's not nearly as much fun. But when it was an unexpected reward like this, I just think that's really cool. That's a wonderful
very
story.
Cool.
And I've got a link to that story if you want to read that on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Another story on there as well. You can read all the details, but I'm going to tell you this. Good news for chocolate lovers. Research found a way to make chocolate even more nutritious and taste better than it currently does. Some kinds of chocolate have already been shown to lower risk of stroke, boost your mood, and potentially serve as brain food, helping people feel more awake and focused. Researchers in Ghana are looking for ways to improve the roasting process to help cocoa beans retain more of their heart-healthy antioxidants. How cool is that?
That's cool.
I already like chocolate, but now I love chocolate. That's good stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Monday. Thanks for tuning in.